Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you 3 unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the lost one of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who's a nightmare in many a kid's dreams, Keith.
Hello.
And with us, I forgot your intro, Aaron.
Oh, stumped. I could kind of see it on your face when you were just saying Keith's. It looked like on your face you were trying to remember the next one, and I was like, "Is he getting stumped right now?"
I think I was just going to call you the Boogeyman.
Well,
That was kind of lame.
yep, that is lame, and
I
it's
know.
too late. Sorry.
But anyway, Aaron.
Thank you.
This week, Aaron picked the game, which thank you so much for picking this game, Aaron, because this was a rough week for me, so I did not have much time to play. But luckily, this was not a very long game. This week, we played Little Nightmares by, I was going to say EA, but they're by Bandai Namco. Nope, that's the publisher. Tarsier Studios. I thought EA was the publisher, but I guess Bandai Namco was.
Yeah, wasn't this one of those ones where EA, I thought EA did release this. I remember this.
I thought they did. I think they eventually own it.
Yeah. Because there's 3 of them now.
There's 3. So this one and the second one are from the same studio, so Tarsier Studios, but the third one is not. Can you guess who the third one is from? You like their games, Aaron, and they're big into horror.
Double Fine.
No, Supermassive Games.
That is kind of surprising. I would not have. I don't think I would have guessed that, honestly.
Yeah, the third one's for Supermassive Games, which I guess people weren't as obviously receptive to the third one.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that a little bit, because I was curious as we were playing this game what the critical reception of all of these games were. I already kind of sneak peeked at it a little bit, but I didn't get into details on what everyone thought of the second and third one. I was kind of more just curious, what did people think of this?
Well, according to Wikipedia, Supermassive's at least helped a little bit with the second one. So I guess a little bit with it.
Okay.
But anyway, we're talking about the first one. Little Nightmares is a third-person platformer kind of horror game where you're playing a small child-like child, that's kind of stuck in this dark, scary place. You don't really know what's going on, but there are some very grotesque-looking monsters trying to consume you. So you are trying to find your way through this labyrinth and hopefully get out and survive. But going around, I guess before we start, I just want to quick remind everyone, please go to GamePassGrabBag.com, check out all the reviews of our past episodes, and also, if you would be so kind for the next month or so, listen to us on Spotify. We're actually very close to qualifying for the partner program. So we are trying to push ourselves over the edge, and if you could be so kind as to help us out, that'd be great. But yes, getting into our Gamer Pass, I will start this off. I was very excited when you also picked this because this has always been a game that's been on my watch list because I've heard such a cult following for it. And anytime I've seen this game, I was like, wow, that looks really cool. Then I played it and I said, yeah, it looks really cool. That's honestly kind of about it. So unfortunately for me, I actually think I might land on a pass on this. I didn't care for this that much. Like, it was fine. You're not going to have a bad time, I guess, playing it. But it's just, I don't know. It's obviously this is kind of a older game at this point. It came out in 2017. And I guess for the time, some of this horror elements and stuff is kind of new and interesting. But obviously there's been games that have kind of done this so that I've experienced. So for me, it's just kind of like, yeah, okay. And the story too just didn't leave much for me. So by the time I rolled credits, I kind of was like, okay, that was about it. So overall, I'm giving this a pass.
I mean, not that I ever go first on these, but it's times like these that I am glad I didn't have to, because I thought I was going to be alone on this in the pass on it, because I just kept waiting for a moment that I was going to go, oh, I love this. And I don't know why. I don't know that this game is critically acclaimed so much. I know it's got a it's got a following. It's got, multiple sequels. It's a pretty big game in that aspect. So I was expecting more from it. And overall, I had the exact same impression you did. I was like, this game looks really cool. and that's where it stops. It just stops at looking really cool, and it's a game that I played otherwise.
This is gonna be a rare episode then, because I'm going on the this is a game. This is I actually really enjoyed this a lot. Andrew, I was kind of in a similar boat. This is why I picked the game. I always see this game get brought up, and every time I've seen videos of it, I've never really noticed it with the kind of the grotesque monsters. Um, and so I didn't really know how much of that was in the game. And so I had a lot of questions going into it. Um, keep in mind, I am on this podcast in most cases an idiot. And there's a
Not just
lot
on
of
this podcast, Sharon.
not just in this podcast, but I tend to struggle with video games that aren't very obvious as to what I need to be doing. And this game offered actually a decent amount of challenge. I died a lot in this game. And usually I find that to be very frustrating, but in this case, I actually really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with kind of some of the trial and error. Sometimes I'm kind of walking into a situation, not quite knowing what I need to do just yet, and I might get killed, but then I'm like, all right, well, now I know, don't do that. And for whatever reason, I really like this. I thought the puzzles were a lot of fun. With you guys, I think the game looks really, really good. And I think this is kind of a clever, creepy little game. So I'm kind of a believer on it right now. So the people might be onto something.
Man, yeah, this is gonna be a rare episode.
It is very rare that I like something and you both don't. That I don't know if that's happened. That's had to have happened.
I'm sure there's been a few, but
I
it's
think there's an
definitely
episode where
rare.
I was fighting both of you guys.
And
So verbally accosting you guys.
and this isn't gonna be one that I'm gonna change my opinion on. I think it's still gonna stay a pass, but I am curious just to hear more about what you have to say on it. Because I just truly it didn't. There's nothing remarkable about it for me overall. But anyways, let's let Andrew start telling us about the story that was so deeply woven.
Perfectly
Yeah,
constructed.
well, this is gonna be a struggle. So you know what? I'm just gonna read the synopsis. Immerse yourself in little nightmares, a dark, whimsical tale that will confront you with your childhood fears. I I I did not have any of these fears. I don't know what this kid's talking about.
All of
Help
them.
six escape the maw, a vast, mysterious vessel inhabited by corrupted souls looking for their next meal. And yeah, that's kind of about the story. You are playing a small, like I said, child, but like you're kind of smaller than a child, sometimes bigger. But yeah, you just wake up in a briefcase and you have a vision of a character who's, in a like a kimono and kind of like creepy, and then you wake up and good luck. Survive out there, and that's kind of about it. You go through different areas of this. You eventually find out. Obviously, the synopsis spoils it. You find out that you're in this vessel. Go through janitorial area, a bunch of cages, a butcher area, eventually to like the cafeteria, and like you just kind of go to these different areas and you're just kind of exploring, and that's kind of it. Already, what I don't like about this story. So when you start the game up, you have two options. Oh, do you want to follow Six's story, which is the kid in the rain jacket, or there's another one called The Kid. But the other one is just DLC. Like you have to obviously pay for it, which is I'm already going to start off pretty expensive DLC. You can obviously get a deal and get all of them, but I think there's 3 packs. And from what I've heard and seen, it does offer a significant amount of the story. But to me, that's lame. Like, why are you kind of paywalling the story? Like, I at least want something. Like when the credits rolled, I went, I don't know what happened. I don't care. Nothing made me go, whoa, where's my wallet? I want to figure out more what happened just there. So I don't know. To me, like this is already where the story kind of fell flat for me.
Well, so I think I had read the synopsis, but I forgot. But anytime that you have to read, even if it's just 2 to 3 sentences, it's not about the amount of reading that I have to do. If I have to read the synopsis of a game to have any idea what's going on, like, yeah, it was very clear the biomes, I'll just use for lack of a better word, what these environments were. Yes, it was clear this person was a butcher. I knew where I was, but I didn't know the context of being in a ship or trying to escape or lost souls trying to find their next meal, which is me. It none of that comes through anywhere in what you're doing. So I don't care for that.
I see. All right, I want to be completely fair here. Just because we've obviously reviewed. I mean, we've played how many roguelikes out there, so we've played a lot of games that don't have a whole lot of story, or survivor games that don't have a whole lot of story. So, yeah, the game doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of story, and I have said in the past there does seem to be a lot of games coming out. I've maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because I don't explore all that often video games, and I kind of stick to my path. But it feels like these video games as art are just becoming more and more popular. And to me, this is kind of a classic example of that, where I think somebody had a really interesting idea for a freaky little video game, and they didn't have a story. I don't think that they necessarily had a story. They kind of had an idea of what this thing would look like. I think the reason why the story shows up as DLC is because people wanted more. People wanted more. They wanted more lore and kind of what the environment is and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you've got yourself a franchise. So
So you don't think
sure,
they planned ahead for the DLC?
I don't, I don't know.
No, I think
Like,
that's pretty reasonable.
because what part of this game would let you believe that there was any intentions of even making a sequel?
I mean,
The
really,
ending?
Does the ending really give you that much to make you think, yeah, oh, there's
I
a
don't
sequel
think
coming?
so.
Well, your character. Oh, I guess I won't say anything, but I don't know, a little bit.
I mean, a little bit, but I wouldn't have been surprised if this was just kind of like a one-off project for somebody. We don't know. We're speculating because that's what we do here. We do speculation journalism, and we don't do actually any real journalism. So to me, um, I don't know. The story kind of was irrelevant to me. I just didn't necessarily care about a story and wasn't really looking for one. And was still very satisfied with the end result here. Just because uh, I can only think of one other video game. I can only think of one other video game that's kind of similar to this. Um, and even that had a little bit more of a story, but barely. Do you remember? I think it was from the makers of Limbo. Obviously, you remember Limbo. Limbo was one
Yep.
of those early Xbox 360 arcade games.
Hmm.
They created a game called Inside. Do you remember Inside?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what this reminded me a lot of. Side scrolling, you're a kid, the story's kind of existing around you in the environment, but you really don't know what's happening. And then you get to kind of like a wild ending. And this game really gave me a lot of those vibes, and I loved that game. That was one of those random side-scrolling platform games that I thought was amazing.
See, but Inside is a perfect example though of like its story is kind of ambiguous and weird, but there's no DLC. It literally was just it rolled
No,
credits and it went, yeah, that was the story. Figure it out.
yeah. I mean, I totally get it. If what you're gonna say about the DLC, it does make me wonder. Like, did they ever plan on a number two? Was that just the DLC was just additional stuff that they were gonna put on there? It's just interesting, but I don't really care that much because I don't think the DLC is necessary. Like, I I don't necessarily feel the need to go get the DLC. Like, that's gonna complete this series. You know what is a little strange though? When somebody calls something a definitive edition, so that's the thing. This just hit Game
No,
Pass, and
this
this
is
is the
enhanced edition.
oh, this isn't the definitive.
No, this
Oh,
is enhanced. So they just added I think there's a few things, but it was in particular the quality mode and performance mode. So you can
uh,
switch this to quality and it goes to a full 60 FPS, which it looks so weird because I switched it over. I was curious. The picture is crystal sharp and it's 60 frames, smooth, buttery movement, and it doesn't feel right. It takes away the environment completely and just makes it feel so sterile and just bad. It doesn't feel
Interesting.
good. So if you're thinking about which one you want to play it on, unless you are like a 60 frames per second, and I don't know.
Only
Yeah, like you won't play
a
anything otherwise.
truther.
Yeah, there we go, truther. Um, just leave this where it is. It's better on performance or on quality.
yeah, I could care less if it's 60 when it comes to a single player game.
Well, especially and like I said, in a game like this, like this kind of almost gives it, not to get ahead too far into like graphics, but it almost has like a claymation sort of
Yeah.
animation to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm with Aaron. I can sort of get past not having a whole lot of story. Sure, it's never really my bread and butter in a game, and this game is about more than just the story. But like what we're looking at right now, what the heck is this thing? Why are they showing up everywhere? Why do I get to hug them, and why doesn't it do anything? They
For
follow you around this tiny little area, but they don't go anywhere with you.
For
they're
Why?
called
anyone not
gnomes.
watching the video, we
Yeah,
are
sorry.
watching some
Yes.
gameplay here. So Keith is referencing some of the gameplay that we are seeing here. I don't care. Like, I don't need to know any of that.
If you're gonna
I
make
think it's
me
creepy. It's
if you're gonna
creepy,
make
freaky
me
stuff.
if you're gonna make me collect and go out of my way to try to find these little secrets, give me at least some little reason for it. Like, make them help me somehow. I don't know.
Nah.
Do something
To,
with them.
to
Make me
me, this
mechanic.
They
game is
explain them in the DLC, Keith. I can tell
Well,
you that.
this
perfect
game is a
again.
vibe. It's it's a whole vibe. It's not going to hold your hand at all. And I'm not even talking about the gameplay, but I'm good with that. I'm good with the little freaky little goblin guys that I don't know what they're doing or why they're there. They freak you out every once in a while.
They don't though.
You know what? Like, and again, this scratches so many itches for me, right? You talked about the claymation stuff. I've mentioned on many an episode here of my fandom of just claymation films in general. And yes, this 100% gets there. But this also, like, I think about movies that I loved. Like, I was a big fan of Jim Henson's The Labyrinth. And it had all sorts of little critters and creatures and all that stuff all over the place. And it didn't need to tell me what every single one of those things was. I was in some weird magical land with little freaky little critters running around and stuff like that. That's fun.
But you're talking
Uh,
about a world that has enough context that you can kind of write off, not needing to know every single thing.
yeah, but I
This
think
is
as you go a
me.
little bit further into the game, you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the game's trying to do. So I'm not.
I just want to know what those little things are.
See, okay, I agree with like both of you. Like, I do want some. I do agree with you, Aaron. Like, because I liked Inside. I don't need to know everything. I do like things semi-ambiguous, but to me, there just wasn't enough to really kind of even slightly hook me. Of like I don't know, like it didn't make me want to be like I need to revisit that. Maybe this guy is like this. Like I want to kind of, if anything, I wanted more story on like the monsters.
I okay, and you know what? Totally fair. I think, like, what you're saying. Like, would I want to play this game again? No. But am I kind of interested to see what the second game does? Yeah, a little bit. Like, what other kind of monsters can they come up with? So fine, I wouldn't pay for the DLC, but I would maybe go try the next game.
Well, see that, and that's where I was saying to like I'm not going to change my opinion on Little Nightmares, but I think I'd be willing to try the other ones because assuming they don't turn into 20-hour games all of a sudden, they're probably still semi-short games. But I would imagine they add new mechanics, they add additional things into it that are going to fill out some of the things I would have preferred to see here.
I
I
think the
guess.
third one's co-op.
Yeah,
I know I've seen at least that there is two characters that are like on screen, so I don't know if it's actually
Yeah.
two people controlling it up. But yeah, I don't have anything, and that's the thing is like, well, this is a pass. I'm not like, oh man, I hated this. I'm just like, it didn't do anything for me that
Yeah.
really made it interesting.
That's how I feel too, Keith.
you're
Like
both wrong.
because it's just I just want to know a little bit more because that's the thing. I love this world. This, as you can see, like the graphics, the game is beautiful. Everything about this world, I'm like, this is really cool. This is kind of a cool design. It's definitely building up some mystery and eeriness. I just wanted just a little world building. That is all.
And this is why, though, I go back to when I say like the game is a vibe. Not to skip ahead here, but there is no dialogue in this game.
No.
So there is no voice acting, although there are some excellent sounds.
Yeah.
There is no actual voices being said here. So that's where I say like this is more of a piece of art than it is as a game that was necessarily trying to tell you a story. Obviously, there's no dialogue. There are no real collectibles of things that you can read that tell you things that are going on in the world. As far as you're aware, your character is mute. Um, and that again, I understood what they were trying to do here, so I don't walk away from this going, "Oh, I wish you guys told me more." I was like, "No, you guys were never really trying to tell me a story."
Well, like one thing that constantly keeps perplexing me in this game, you are obviously, like I said, kind of a child, but you're like smaller than a child. You're about like ankle high compared to these monsters. So, like, in theory, you are very, very tiny, yet everything is so conveniently low. All the locks are super low. It's like, why would the monsters put a lock ankle high for them? You know, why is the door like always like have a door handle that's ankle high? Like, I don't know. That's why I was curious of like, was this a world that was inhabited by like, because I'm
Well,
assuming you're not an actual human child.
well, that's an interesting question because at the very beginning of the game, you see a hanging body that looks much more like a human adult legs than it does any of the monsters that are kind of the quote unquote adults, and it's definitely bigger than you even in like relative as a child. Like that's like a full blown adult. You're still a miniature child.
Yeah.
I think it's just a
I
nightmare.
know it's just yeah, and probably
Well,
like
that's the thing. Is this a nightmare? Is this in somebody's head?
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
what I
mean. I
think.
just want a little context. That's all. But
I didn't need it. I thought it was
there's
perfect
no
as is.
world building. That's what we're going for here.
yeah. But as far as the gameplay goes, you know, this is your typical kind of, you know, it's like 2.5D platformer. So yes, you are mostly just the camera is at a side angle and you are able to kind of move around this environment, but it is kind of very basic platforming, very kind of simple puzzle solving. Um, you can tell this game is also 2017 because there are no white paint anywhere or yellow
Oh, yellow
paint.
paint.
Yeah. And, like,
That's it.
that's the thing because I feel like yellow paint wasn't much of a thing until, like, close to 2020. And so, yeah, this game does not really hold your hand. No tutorial at the beginning, like, as you saw
None.
probably in this footage, I had to stop and be like, "Alright, at least give me a controller layout because I need to know what's going on here," which highly recommend because you need to figure out pretty quickly what you need to do.
Actually, I wouldn't say there was no tutorial. Every once in a while, it would pop up.
If you
Oh,
fail
yeah,
the
that's right, if you're
section,
struggling in an area.
yeah, it would pop up and like kind of tell you what button you're missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is where I go back to, right? I'm a big dumb idiot. And when people complain about yellow paint was made for me. That's why it's in video games. And this one doesn't have any of it. And I still did okay. Like I didn't have I've absolutely walked into rooms and spent a lot of time trying to solve a puzzle that wasn't there. Um
I did that a
because
couple times too, yeah.
yeah, like there's one area that I'm thinking of right now that I walked into this room and I swore up and down I had to get to this one spot. And I spent all this time trying to figure out how to get up there and come to find out that I didn't even need to be in that room. Um, so, you know, even watching this gameplay here of Andrew, it's like, it's just reminding me so much of you kind of walk into a room and you're like, all right, where do I need to go? Am I going up? Am I going right? Am I going down? And then what puzzle do I need to solve to move on? Um,
Well, yeah, and you can see right here, it's like not making fun of Andrew, but like it's taking him a little bit. So all of a sudden, it's like, hey, use the right stick to look around.
yeah.
So it's giving him clues, and actually, that is kind of a cool little visual thing it does there. As we're watching this, the way that door opens, it
Yep.
intentionally blocks the handle so that you don't see it until you think to move the door. So it's not really like it's not a puzzle in that it's some mystery,
No.
but it's a nice little hidden trick. I
Y-
will
y-
give it that.
the game has a ton of moments like that.
Yeah.
And what's really funny about that moment, so watching Andrew play that right there, when I went in there, I conveniently went and closed the door after I walked in there.
I did too. So I immediately
Really?
saw
You guys
that.
are just I'd be polite.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know how or why I did it, but yeah, I closed it, and so I immediately was like, oh, okay, I just got to figure out how to get up there now.
exactly. But I recognized at that moment, oh, hey, most people are probably not going to do that. Most people are probably going to walk in here and keep the door open,
Mhm.
and not be able to see the thing that was behind it. And again, moments like that, like Keith, you kind of pointed out perfectly. It's it's not like in-your-face type of puzzle, but it is a puzzle. You're still trying to kind of figure these things out, and there's no map. It's not telling you. There's no arrow telling you you need to go this way. You're kind of using context clues in a lot of areas to figure these things out. And I really love that. For a guy that's a big idiot, I'm a big idiot. There's no yellow paint here, and I was still able to navigate this pretty cleanly throughout.
Yeah. How long did it take for you to beat it?
I think I
I
was
have
there
no
like
clue.
4 hours or so, 3.5.
Yeah, 5, 6, 5, 6.
Oh, jeez. So, if you want to see my gameplay, I actually streamed the entire Six's story on our YouTube. So make sure you go to our YouTube channel. And I beat it a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you really
Dang.
can zip through it. So, I mean, I guess that kind of jumps us into gameplay a little bit because really and this was my biggest gripe with the game, or what I will say is my biggest gripe with the gameplay, is that it's it's not difficult as much as it's about like perfected timing. And I don't know, it's not even skill based. It's just like, well, you took a half a second because you kind of got caught on that wall a little bit by accident. So now you're not going to hit this next checkpoint. And then you just have to restart again. You know exactly what you have to do. But if you don't hit it quite perfect, it it punishes you.
I mean,
Which checkpoints are kind of annoying. I always thought, like, here in this gameplay footage, I literally tried killing myself because I wanted to see what happened. And it's like, if you ever played Limbo, the other game that I can't remember the studio, but that
I
made
don't remember that.
Inside, it usually has cool death animations. And so I lit that lantern. I'm like, oh, these are the checkpoint things. But no, the checkpoint's kind of random.
It was every time you entered a new room, it would save, and then I think it usually would make your checkpoint like the room before that. It kind of seemed to be the case. Yeah, I mean, it took me longer because I am still a big dummy. I probably had the hardest time figuring out some of the areas, especially with the chef area,
Yeah, the chef was annoying.
because a lot of that was about collecting keys.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that initially that that's what was going on. So there was one time where I was like really stuck on this area, and I'm like, I do not know where I need to be right now. I have no clue where I need to be. Wasn't super frustrated, but I just kind of kept dying in this process because I was trial and erroring this thing because I could not figure out, and the key was sitting on the table the whole time, and I just didn't see it.
Oh, that
Oh,
And
so it
one.
was the
That,
first one. Yeah, that one. That's
no,
where I
that
ended
was
the first footage at.
no, it was the second one. It was when you go up the
Oh,
elevator.
Yeah, that one
oh,
was annoying because that one I kept hitting the grinder. I was like,
Yeah.
what am I missing here with this grinder? And yeah, I ran into the same issue. It
the
Yeah.
was
grinder I did by accident, actually.
Oh, I walked right in there and immediately touched the button and then died.
oh yeah,
I
because
was like, oh, dang.
that chef flies in there. And the chef was one of the ones that drove me the most nuts. And it was the first kitchen that you're in with the chef. And it was because their line of sight is so wonky. Like there in particular, you go through the first room and it has one of your little mini doors to go through. And I would sit there, I'm hidden behind a box. Like he can't see me. And all of a sudden he would just freak out and start chasing me. I'm like, you cannot see me where I am. But it was that one spot in particular that's supposed to be a hide spot, but he absolutely gets you every time. And it was really just a nuisance more than anything. It wasn't,
Yeah.
but it took me a few extra tries because I like, this is one of the things too about games like this these games require patience that I don't have, and it makes no sense. I have the patience to play a idle game that I have to wait 20 minutes to get enough money to buy the next cookie clicker thing. And I will wait that 20 minutes and have that patience, but I need to wait 30 seconds for an enemy to pass before I can walk through this room. And I am just fuming by 15 seconds. Like, how much longer do I have to wait? This is ridiculous. I don't want to play this. And this was really one of those moments, honestly. Like it's not that bad, but I felt like I was waiting eternities for these chefs to walk around.
I didn't feel that frustrated. I didn't feel that frustrated with that. I was more frustrated with myself because I felt like these quote unquote puzzles were easy enough that I should have been solving them faster. And again, the clip we're watching right now is a great example. I was sat in that room for a long time not thinking about that being a ladder. And that's the thing, right? There are like 15 of those shelves through any given area, and one time it's relevant, and the other 14 times it's just a shelf
Yeah.
and it
And you
has
can
no
probably
purpose.
climb every single one of those other 14
I
too, and that's
climb it
the
every
thing.
time because I think that, like, oh, well, that is necessary for this level because it was necessary in a different level. I personally like that. I liked the fact that that was just kind of part of your experience. You're kind of going into a room and you've got to kind of figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to get stuck trying to climb up shelves that go nowhere.
See,
And
I
you're
fully agree with
convinced.
you. Like,
I
I
love
did
that.
like this too. I like the lack of yellow paint.
It, it was kind of refreshing to see because what it felt like is they were able to design the level how they wanted it to look. Like they want it to look like a freaky kitchen. It looks like a little freaky kitchen, and they just so happen to put enough in there for you to navigate it. I
Well, you
liked it
can
too.
and you can pick up just about anything you want, like, just about any item is movable, or at least grabbable in some way, and it's at least part of the I don't know if I wanna call it puzzle, but I think to what Aaron was saying, like, I guess kind of a red herring is it's gonna
Yeah.
let you interact with everything, because so you don't know exactly what you need to interact with. This room took me a few tries actually, because I didn't see the key that's actually right in front of you
Yep.
as you're walking up there, but I didn't see that until maybe the 3rd or 4th time I went through this. I'm going, "What in the world am I missing here?"
And
I was trying to move the we're watching, again, Andrew's stream here, and there's a, shelf or a briefcase I was trying to push off the shelf there. I was trying to do
yep,
all these things. None of it was
yep.
working 'cause
And, and again, kudos to the level designers here, where because the environment, as Andrew said, is like 2.5D. You're ultimately a platformer here, but they're putting things that are in the foreground that are kind of important to you, and there's things in the background that are important as well. Like you do kind of have to keep an eye on the entire space. Um, Again, hats off to them. I really think a lot of that design was great. Um, yeah, and again, just kind of added on to the gameplay. Um, the fact that there is no tutorial, the grabbing feature, which is kind of your main thing. I didn't know there was a sprint until much later on. Had no clue it was
Yeah.
there because they didn't tell me. I kind of figured out the only way I could complete this one area is if I was sprinting. And I was like, well, all right, found a sprint.
Which
Those
you will be using a lot near the end.
yeah.
those those dang little the only collectible in the game. There's one collectible in this game.
No, there's 2.
Yeah, the little
No,
statues.
3. There's statues, lighting the lanterns, and then
Yeah.
hugging gnomes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I guess I just what I was thinking of. I was just lighting lanterns because I thought it just helps light the level.
I thought
I
so
didn't.
too. But no,
I didn't know
there's an
that
achievement and
there is an
collectible thing on it.
achievement, but the things you pick up and throw, the little statues, I I'm just walking around with those things. I didn't know they were like you had to break them.
I did it for a while. If you saw the first footage,
Yeah,
the first one I was like, "Oh, I'm probably gonna need this. This looks
no,
important."
that's
And
what
then I
I
threw
did.
it by accident. It broke, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm supposed to
I
do that."
I just dropped it. And then later on, I accidentally did that, and I realized, like, ah, crap, that was a collectible. I just didn't realize it. So, because again, the game does not tell you any of that. It is you are going in there and you're kind of trial erroring some things, and there's not a whole lot of controls, so there's not that much you're going to need to learn there. But, yeah, there's just zero hand holding on that front.
One thing I will point out, and we don't see it here in Andrew's gameplay, but I did run into this, and maybe you did as well, Aaron, is it does a weird thing where it kind of checkpoints you without checkpointing you at certain points. So there was a room Andrew grabbed a key in. In that room, I got captured the first time I got the key, but I had got it down from the hook it was on. The next time it started me all the way back at the first shaft, and I'm like, great, I have to go all the way back, gotta get myself back, up to that second floor. instead of me having to get that key again, it was sitting right outside the elevator door. So I didn't have to
Oh,
repeat
that's nice.
that room with the key at least. Maybe, 5 minutes of gameplay or whatever, but it was like, okay, it at least gave me that much to say, hey, look, we're not gonna make you do the whole thing over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That, by the way, this was the room. So if you are watching us on Spotify, I don't know if the video shows everywhere else, but if you are watching us on Spotify, which we do recommend you do, you can see video of this gameplay. This is the room I probably spent a
Yep.
ludicrous amount of time in.
Yep, me too. Because
We're
how
just-
this camera angle shifts right here, I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I need to jump on this platform.
So
That
I'm
absolutely
trying.
looks like you should be able to get up there.
I tried so many dang angles, and I was getting real frustrated
say-
with it.
Yep, over a minute of me
yeah.
doing that. I'll just skip ahead.
I don't think I
Uh,
ever got into that room, honestly.
No, I did. And it took me a minute to kind of figure out that this was kind of one of the weird ones where you kind of had to backtrack a little bit. But
Yeah, this one
which I actually stumbled on.
let's say this one I actually I spent a few minutes on because I kept trying to hit the third hook.
Yeah, same
Um,
here. You'll see
but
me try
otherwise-
that.
Yeah, you'll see here. Yeah, but it was one of those things that I say I spent a little bit. I think I tried it 3 or 4 times. It took me maybe 5 minutes, and I just went, well, I guess I just can't do this. And if I can, I'll come back here and try it again later. But
which is kind of a good tip. Like, that's actually kind of a useful tip in this game. Like, whatever your first instinct is to do, if you don't find success in it pretty much right away, move on.
yeah, go
'Cause-
somewhere else.
Yeah, because there's a good chance that it's something else. You just don't realize it yet.
And that's exactly what I'm doing here of like, oh, I see a ham is on this door. I think this door is weighted. So maybe I need to put a bunch of hams on here and it'll open the door. And then I tried it. Doesn't work. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to go back. Maybe this is the room I'm supposed to be in, which I actually set up and solved the puzzle for myself. And I didn't realize I did.
Yeah, you did it in reverse from what I did, because I opened the door the first time, saw the sausage part, and then when I got up here, I put 2 and 2 together. So you missed the first part.
Yeah, I did it the way Andrew did. Is I set all this
Really?
up and I went back down. Well, because it's one of those weird things, and I like and I dislike when games do this. And I think I mentioned this last week on Thousand Resist a little bit too, or 1,000 Times Resist is what we've landed on. Is that it doesn't have a
Back to the room.
yeah, like it doesn't have a defined like path of where you're going. So sometimes I'm trying to explore, but I end up advancing the story a little bit when I was trying to do more exploring. And this I kind of thought I was doing that in some cases too. I was like, I think I'm going to go this room. I thought by going up that little shaft or that elevator that I was like, oh, that's part of the exploration, not part of the solution. All that to say,
I will say again, Keith, again, good point, because sometimes in games not like this, but similar to this, I'll sometimes get stressed out if I feel like I went down a path and I missed like a secret path I wanted to go down. That gave me something. I don't feel like this game ever puts you in that predicament. Like, I don't feel like there's a situation where, oh, I missed a room. Like, I really needed to go to that room.
Yeah.
Even if you're getting those little collectibles, the collectibles don't do anything. But I wasn't missing some piece of story or dialogue that I really wanted to hear, because there's none of it. And so, I never had that kind of moment. Like, if you advance, well, good, that's what you were supposed to do.
yeah, really for the most part. Like there was very few times that I was like, oh man, I really think there was something I wanted to do. I think a couple of
but
times I was like, maybe I fell down and I wanted to go back and explore left, but honestly, probably all that if I had gone left would have been a dead end wall.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been anything.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't have been. It would.
The game only progresses if you're going in the correct direction. Like, you really can't do a whole lot of, like, the backtracking was pretty limited in this game. So yeah, again, overall, I really like the level design. I like the gameplay of it. It's really simple. And I thought the puzzles and trying to figure some of these areas out was actually kind of fun. I actually had a pretty good time with it.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't talk about the scary factor of this game. What was the spooky factor for you guys? Aaron's always the scaredy cat here, so
It never, no game has ever made me well, not I shouldn't say no game has ever, but at least as a man well into his 30s here, um, I don't really jump at video games anymore. So this game didn't make me jump, but I'd say this has got some creepy factor. More than
Oh
I
yeah,
expected. I think because I wasn't expecting it, when you kind of run into your first the way I would almost describe this game is like it's kind of like levels, like boss levels, just extended through multiple maps or
yeah.
rooms. But so the first one you go into is this really short guy with really long arms with a
Janitor.
Oh yeah,
kind of peeled off face.
yeah, he's creepy looking.
Kind of looks like it's degloved kind of thing. And the breathing he makes going, you can kind of hear him in the other room breathing. Very creepy. His arms reaching around for you because he's blind. So
It
he
took me a while to
realized
figure out if he was blind, like if they're
he's
trying to
blind.
make him blind.
No, it's all off hearing because he's got stuff wrapped around his eyes.
Yeah, but
So
he still sees you no matter where you are.
Can he see or does he smell you?
Maybe, but it's
I think he
yeah,
smells you.
because he definitely turns around even when you walk behind him. So it's not a sight thing, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, like it's absolutely got a really creepy vibe. It's very weird though. Like they have these weird stumpy legs.
Yeah,
No, see, I never hidden there. I just
that's what I'm saying. Like
I
it's got
sprinted
a
through this
Jim
room.
Henson creep factor to it, and again, I'm super into it. Like I'm way in. When I ran into this first guy, I was like, okay, now I'm into this because I thought this game was just kind of creepy area. Kid just kind of does puzzles. That's what I thought this game was. I didn't know these things even really existed, and then I was like, all right, now I'm into this.
Well, see, I think it was either reading the synopsis or somewhere I basically, my vision was that it was actual adults that you were going to be being chased by and kind of up against. I didn't know they were like monstrosities. And so when I first saw them, I was like, oh, this is not what because even you see going back to the hanging body looked like normal human adult legs. So that's what I was expecting I was going to see. And then I saw the janitor there and it's just a wildly different
Okay,
thing.
all right, hold on. Theory: is this just a story about child abuse? Is this some child
I kind of thought it was going there, honestly.
reliving people that have harmed him?
Like an orphanage type of thing.
Like, so you've got the janitor, you've got the cook. He obviously somebody kills themselves pretty early, which by the way, that was kind of a shocking thing to see very early on.
Yeah.
Because you're not expecting to see it. Next thing you know, you're walking into a room with somebody just hanging, and you're like, "What the heck?" Sorry, spoiler if anybody hasn't
I
played
mean,
this
it's in
yet,
the
but it
first
happens
5
very
minutes of the
quick.
game.
Yeah, you'll see it right at the beginning.
Which yeah, this game
Um,
did not have a disclaimer or like
no,
a trigger warning or whatever.
yeah, again, the
2017.
sign of the sign. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe is that what this is?
I've seen a couple different theories. One of the theories I landed on is it's supposed to be like a metaphor of China making the Americans fat and lazy because it's odd that literally the end of this game comes very oriental and it's all of these people coming in and overweight and eating almost like Wally, and it's just like, what is this like saying? Like, why did this all of a sudden get very oriental?
Well, I like you said that weird figure you see at the beginning is in a kimono, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
mean,
Good question, but
Mm,
or also very much like Studio Ghibli kind of did that too with Spirited Away.
yeah,
okay.
again, these all kind of all of those things like it shares a lot of the DNA of that type of stuff. Um, of Jim Henson, claymation, Studio Ghibli, like you can see little bits and pieces of this all throughout this.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know how you guys didn't walk away from this being like, oh heck yeah,
Well,
because
this
I
is the
thought this
thing.
was
Well,
great.
because getting toward our next point, what really did hook me, and you can see with this, is the graphics. I loved this environment.
Yeah,
I loved just about every room I'm going to is very well crafted and designed, and I loved that. To me, this game's graphics from even a 2017 game, it looks stunning.
yeah,
The creatures, like you said, with the claymation look, the creature design is great. You know, like the environments. it just for me, like I said, it just I wanted to know a little bit more. Is this someone's imagination? Is this childhood trauma? What I just wanted a little bit more world building to which would help me appreciate kind of these creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Andrew on that, where it's just I kind of wanted it to like just have them make a little bit of sense and like wanted to feel part of it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that I want to live trauma. I wanted to be part of the trauma, you know? But I don't know. Overall, this is where I go back to. This isn't one of those games that I'm like, man, I hated this. I hated that.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I was hoping for. And I don't know what I was hoping for, but it wasn't it.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. This one exceeded my expectations. Because I think I went into it with just so little knowledge of what this game was that, again, when I started running into some of these monsters, I was like so pleasantly surprised at how cool some of these guys were looking that I was like, all right, I'm
I,
kind of fully into this thing.
I will say, watching all of your gameplay there, Andrew, on like that sequence, I handled that entire sequence completely different than you did. Like top to bottom. The first time you ran into him, when I say different, I say wrong, but it worked. I didn't do any sneaking on the first time. I just completely sprinted
Sprinted.
through that room 3, 4 times until it finally worked. And I think I just got it one time where he kind of like just disengaged with me. So I got into the second room without him chasing me. And then that second sequence you saw there, I actually climbed up the elevator door and I was hanging on that. So when the door opened, I fell. And he just
Yep.
like turns and looks at me.
Yep.
So there's different places that you can hide in this game, which watching you play kind of actually gives me a little more appreciation for it, that there's not different solutions, so to speak, but I mean, in that case, really different solutions, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, some of these puzzles, it kind of surprised me. Like there was, I want to say maybe 3 puzzles. It took me a couple minutes to figure out, but a lot of times I entered a room and I'm like, I have a feeling this thing wants me to do this, and sure enough, that was the puzzle.
Yeah. For it not having yellow paint, you still could get there. Like some were really obvious. Some were some took, some trial and error. Um, but again, I died a good amount of times in this game.
Same. Yeah, anything that took a little bit of backtracking was usually the ones that got kind of hung me up.
I mean, watching this, Andrew, I don't know, it kind of feels like Andrew died
Oh
a
yeah.
decent amount of times
There's
too.
Oh,
well,
I
there's
did.
there's definitely things I'm watching Andrew do that I'm like, "Oh, I breezed right through that." But there's also things that I'm going, "Oh man, I died like 4 times here." So it's just weird like
Yeah.
the different experiences with it, cuz some of the things I think you genuinely could just get kind of lucky with.
Yeah.
There's one of the ones that comes up here that I actually was probably a split second away from getting through the first time, and then it took me like 4 or 5 tries the next time because I couldn't figure out how to replicate what I did the first time, because also did it wrong the first time, and I think it kind of glitched and worked.
I love the idea of like doing it wrong and still it being right.
Yeah.
Uh, I I don't know. Do you toss it up to good game design? I'm not really sure.
The last one I was talking about, I think it just kind of glitched, and I happened to like bounce away from him and end up on
Yeah.
the other side of him. But some of it, I think it is just like I said, if assuming it's somewhat intentional, then I'll give him some points for that.
Yeah.
See, for here, this ending, this last chapter, the graphics is to me where it really shines. I don't want to say overall,
Yeah.
that's just the game itself shines. Like graphically, like these very large adult people eating the food like
It
looks
looks
edible,
grotesque.
but
It
looks
looks
disgusting and
grotesque
grotesque.
and disgusting. I
Yeah.
again, great level design kind of goes hand in hand here with graphics. Um, much like you mentioned, kind of when you're in the end there and you're in that little cafeteria, there's so much happening in the background that, and then where you're at, there's just so much to look at and kind of marvel at. And I just love the creepy monster designs. Just a huge, huge fan of it. And that's probably, honestly, it's like 90% of my love for this game is the creepy monsters and me just wanting more of them.
I mean, that's fair. And one of the things I do like about it too is I like the camera work that it does.
Yeah.
I like the sort of forced perspective changes that it does with that 2.5D, like we were just seeing with that table run that Andrew had to do. Like it goes to a little bit of a top down instead of the full 2D scroller. So it just takes that perspective and shifts it in a way, but it makes the whole scene feel so much different.
I do have like a minor gripe with that. It's actually a good point that you brought that up. I do like that too. I totally get that. There are instances though where you can kind of get yourself into a bind where a monster can see you and you can't tell that they can see you because they're off camera. And that stuff can get a little frustrating.
Yeah, you got to listen to the audio.
You do kind of have to listen to the audio, but again, the chef area is kind of another good example of it where they're in another room. I don't think they can see me, so I'm going and interacting. I can hear them breathing.
Yeah,
But I don't.
Very strong asthma.
And then they shriek when they hear you, when they see you. But if they see you, you're pretty much dead. Because they're sprinting at you, and if you don't have anywhere to hide, you're just a goner at that point. So that stuff can be a little frustrating. I wish maybe the camera was just a little bit more malleable. Like if there's danger, I can kind of flick the stick over and see where are they. Because I can't tell. Like if I'm in this separate area and they're not basically in that camera view, I can kind of shift it a little bit, but just a little bit. So
I gotta say, my deaths are probably my least deaths are like being caught.
Really, where are your most deaths from?
Most were missing jumps. I had a lot of just really bad jumps. It's pretty funny. Like when you actually watch my stream, like I'm even laughing. Like God, that was so awful.
No,
jump.
That's so funny. I didn't struggle.
I got eaten a lot.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those points where I'll actually give the game again some credit on some cool moments with it. Is like I'd be crawling into a vent and they'd be reaching into the vent to grab me still, and I'm like, that's a kind of a nice little realistic touch to it. That I'm like, you're not quite safe because you hit this little barrier. I mean, yes, there's a certain point they can't, but I'm like, you want to feel safe the second you climb up that ledge, but you're not until it actually drops you down.
Yeah, even reaching up on the top shelves for you, trying to grab you and stuff like that. Yeah,
you can, and like you watch them walking around when you're up on the rafts, and you can see them like just trying to search. It's one of those things that yes, I'm not scared, but it does have this like creepy vibe of
very
like
creepy.
And I can appreciate that for sure.
How long until this is a movie?
With what story, Aaron?
Tough to see. Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's has 2 movies.
That's honestly, that's
Five Nights at Freddy's actually does have lore, though. It does have lore.
And
fine. I'm just saying,
go into the sequels or DLC.
You can 100% make movies off of no story. That is not a limitation in Hollywood. I just feel like the creepy factor here, and it's obviously hit with a group of people. Five Nights at Freddy's could be
but this is about kids getting consumed, so I don't know. That's a little more touchy subject.
Back in the 90s, that wouldn't have been a problem. They'd be making movies on that stuff all the time.
I mean, it's basically Goonies.
Kids we need.
Which, by the way, when I watched it, like the most recent one, I was kind of shocked that they were just killing kids. I have not, but I want to watch that. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there because I hear it's actually very good.
It's a mixed bag. We can talk about it.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, to me, when I'm watching this, I'm just like, ooh, this just feels like somebody's going to want to make a movie out of this because it's just that creepy. It's just creepy.
If they got one of your favorite studios, like a Studios, to do this with the claymation, this would be fantastic.
Well, okay, but now you're going to kind of run into a little bit of an issue here.
Not how I got up.
This is not made for children. This game is not made for children. Yeah, so
a lot of like a Studio stuff is pretty creepy too, though.
It's
and
creepy,
not quite for children.
But it is made for children. Like children.
You think Coraline's made for children?
I mean, my kids watched it and were fine with it.
Yeah, but they're older-ish.
This is different though. This is not Coraline. This is bloodier and gorier. I wouldn't compare those two. I wouldn't. So
Nope.
I don't know. If you made this claymation, I think you'd run into an issue of
I will
people
say
thinking it's for kids.
6 here reminds me of Coraline. the yellow
Well,
jacket.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just the look of it, like, it kinda had that vibe the whole time. It is funny, though, because again, watching Andrew here, that's not how I got up on that thing. There's another area where you can climb up on a bookshelf, and you can get yourself hooked onto that. It wasn't neither of them were wrong. I thought it was just interesting. I didn't get up there. You took the hard route, I think, because you were in the middle of the kitchen.
Did it one try though.
I did not.
And, to me, the raincoat reminds me of Georgie,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is the first kid killed in
This
it.
is probably closer to it than it is Coraline.
Yes, yes, I actually thought of Georgie with his boat. Um,
By the
so,
way,
I don't know. Yeah, graphically, level design, all that stuff, beautiful.
gosh, like look at the rain like
I
coming
know.
down on the building. Like it's awesome. But the audio though, the audio is good. I wanted it. As far as correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember any music.
That little bits. Little bits, but not one to stick out. I most cases, I would hate that. But I love the audio design in this. It's clearly built around atmosphere, and
Yeah.
my goodness, some of these things sound absolutely disgusting.
Gosh, the eating sequences were
Ah,
just
Yeah.
like it's one of those things. Like I what's the term? Misophonia. Like people don't like listening to people eat or have like it. So I don't have that personally, but my wife, it is something that
my
triggers
wife
her.
does.
And as a result, it's something I've become very attuned to. So while it doesn't have the same full effect on me, when I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like just nails on a chalkboard right now. Like if this was the children, I'd be
Yeah.
sending them to the room. Like you're not eating again in this house. You're not allowed.
Yeah, just listening to them breathe, and sometimes, like, I remember the chefs kind of, like, having, like, an almost, like it sounded like they had stuff stuck in their throat a little bit,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Ugh, this is gross," just kind of this phlegmy sounds. A
But
genius, though.
yeah, but what I like about it, it's gross and creepy, but to me it wasn't over the top. Like that's one thing I
No.
like about this, even with graphically too. This game is not like it's creepy, but it's not gory. You're not
No.
seeing your kid being like ripped limb from limb and blood spurting everywhere. None of that. It is very kind of clean usually when you die, and like it's just disturbing enough, but
Yep.
not too bad that like it's gonna like really creep out kids and stuff.
Yeah, in most cases, it honestly doesn't even show much more than them grabbing you. Like
Yeah.
there was one sequence that I saw you get grabbed by one of the eating people. That was probably one of the most graphic, where they actually just shove you inside their mouth, and it's not anything more graphic than you'd see in like
Yep.
an actual kid's cartoon. Now it's meant to be scarier. Nope, there's one of Andrew's dumb falls. Um, but like it's obviously meant to be scarier than something you would see in a kid's cartoon, but you know, it's nothing you'd see like I don't know, Patrick putting some other character inside his mouth. Like it's kind of silly looking in a way with a
Yep.
grotesque character instead.
Yeah. So overall, again, sound was great. Graphics were great. You guys literally are a pass on this thing just because of story. So just want to be clear how
Yeah.
wrong they are.
You know what? All right. Let's get our final thoughts here. Oh wait, well, no, I skipped over achievements. As far as the achievements go, it's pretty easy for achievement hunters. I mean, I couldn't fully calculate. The achievements are very vague. There's some that obviously it has 2,000 gamer scores, so some is DLC, some is actual base game, but everything is titled very vaguely. Some of you can kind of figure out like, oh, I need to smash all the statues, which this game does have a chapter select and tell you, oh, there's so many lanterns you needed to statue smash, gnomes hug. Overall, though, for achievement hunters, it's not bad. Like I said, I beat this game in a little over 2 hours, but you're looking about 4.5 hours, I guess, max for playtime. So it's not awful for achievement hunters. Uh, I actually didn't go back and get all the achievements yet for it. I don't know if I will, but
Ooh,
yeah.
get
So getting into
soft.
final thoughts here of Little Nightmares. As I said at the beginning here, it's not a bad game. I was just expecting a little bit more. I just like for a 2017 game, if I played this when it first came out, I'm sure I would have loved this way more. But now I've played and seen a lot of games. To me, I'm like, I've seen this before. I've done this before. It's fine. I really just wanted more out of this world building. I loved this world they crafted. Graphically, this game is absolutely gorgeous. I could constantly just watch a lot of this footage. That's how I first got this game. I kept seeing clips of these monsters, and I was like, "This game looks super cool." Like, I really wanted to try this. So I'm really glad it finally did come out on Game Pass. It's just, yeah, the gameplay, the puzzles weren't very hard for me, so I just breezed through the game, and like I said, the credits rolled, and I went, "Okay, like, I guess that was it." Um, you won't like I said, yes, I'm giving this a pass, but I don't think you'll hate your time with it. I didn't hate my time with it. It just didn't stick with me that well. Um, I will say though, I am very interested in sequels. I Even though this one wasn't like great, like I mean, blew my socks off, but the second one, I'm like, I really want to go and check that out. The third one I've heard, as I said, is done from a different studio, and I heard that one's kind of iffy. But yeah, this lands at a high 70. I'm giving it a 78.
Yeah, and so I don't know, like Andrew had said and I had said earlier, like this isn't a game that I have a lot of complaints about. I just didn't really like the overall gameplay that I was offered. Like the story is an issue for me, and just that if the biggest thing I'm being offered are going to be, to Aaron's point, art as a video game, sure, visually it's there. The sound design, it's there. I probably didn't care for the sounds of the creatures as much. I thought they got
Ugh.
a little too much at some points, but outside of that, honestly, like it is really good and it's about that. But the story has to go along with it for me personally. And if it's not, then I'm just playing a kind of boring walkthrough simulator with some, to Andrew's point, not very difficult puzzles. It wasn't the puzzles that got me, it was the timing that was getting me. And my actual one complaint that I didn't actually really mention, but with the fact of that forced perspective, you kind of touched on it, Aaron, is that there's a lot of times the camera angles I would get stuck on a wall and not realize it because you can't always tell. And so I would just like run into a wall for a half a second longer than I needed to, and then my timing would be off. I would miss and fail, restart that process all over again. And you do that 2 or 3 times, and that's where I would start to lose my patience and ability to like, okay, if I just need to wait a half a second longer, this because I'm like, I don't want to do this again. It wasn't interesting the first time I had this puzzle solved out and when I walked in the room, and it's not interesting the fourth time I'm doing it. That was really the part that I was like, I don't like this. If the puzzles are going to be easy, make them easy and give me this experience. The experience didn't connect fully. The gameplay wasn't fun enough. That's where it just, in this instance, it fails as a game for me. It's not there. All of the elements are there that I am interested in a sequel. I would even consider the DLC. It kind of bums me out that they don't give you at least some taste of that DLC, especially if that offers some of the things that's lacking in the base game. But that said, um, yeah, I think I think it's 75 still.
Yeah, so as I've mentioned before, this game scratches a lot of itches for me. It just does a lot of things right for me. I understood exactly what they were trying to do with this game. I understood pretty early on. I mean, I didn't need the story because there's no dialogue, and frankly, I think the creepiness is just a part of that story. Um, so huge fan overall. The puzzles I thought were really well done because they're environmental puzzles. They're not impossible to figure out even without the yellow paint. As much as it pains me to say that. I love this game. I love the sound design. Yeah, it's not a long game, which is also kind of nice. Um, but I would have been fine if this was longer. If this was an extra 2 hours and I got some more monsters and stuff like that, I still would have been a fan of that. I know these guys probably wouldn't because it's just 2 hours of less story for them.
No, it just would
Um,
it would have needed more mechanic to it. I wouldn't have wanted just 2 hours more of just wandering and
I don't know. I was
just
kind of wanted to
kinda
see what was coming next. I thought the set pieces were fun. I don't
I
know.
want the gameplay to feel like it shifts a little bit if I'm gonna be spending 5+ hours on a game. Don't keep it flat. Even if the visuals change, it's
I don't know. I'm more with you, Aaron. Like if you introduced a different type of monster, I would have been.
See.
It would have been
Oh,
more
See,
for a little longer.
see,
I'm not saying it would have gone from like a 70 to 5 to like, oh, it's a 60. It just would have like, it didn't do much more than add some more cool visuals. And I would have agreed that the new visuals were cool. And I like that would have been it for me.
my bottom line here is there's pretty much no excuse for you to not go play this. It's not a long playthrough. I think it's a really good game. And if you've got Game Pass, it's on there. So I would just recommend going and playing this. For me, I'm gonna put this at an 84.
I will say this is to one of Andrew's old kind of outages here. It's a perfect palate cleanser game. Like if you're just looking for something to take a break and you haven't a clue what to play, less than 5 hours, 100 for sure, and you'll be done in a weekend and go back to whatever games probably you need a break from.
And judging by the Metacritic score, these two guys are in the minority, so there's a good chance you'll actually like it.
Oh man!
Oh, I know we're the minority. I mean, heck, on Steam, it has a very positive rating with over 18,000 reviews.
I thought we were. This is what I predicted when we came on. I predicted we were all three going to be at a game. So it's wild to think two were.
I mean, I really thought I was gonna be before I played
this
it.
is one thing that irritates me a little bit with when we do Gamer Pass. Like, just because I give it a pass, you make it seem like I hated it. I did not hate this game.
It's a cool little gimmick to do, but you are right. There's more nuance to it, and that's what the episode does. Is it allows you to provide your nuance, and then you gave it a score that was lower than mine and doesn't match Metacritic. So, all right.
All right, everyone. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here. As I said, please make sure you try to listen to us on Spotify for the next month or so.
If you don't follow us on Spotify, make sure you do that too. Yeah. That's also very nice.
Also write comments on there.
Thing to do.
We from what we got on our wrap up, we're one of the top commented episodes or podcasts out there. So we always love hearing from you guys. Or if you want to talk to us directly, make sure you go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Top right corner, you'll find the link to our YouTube and our Discord. Come join our Discord, say hi. Me and Keith are pretty active on there. We always love talking video games or whatever to people. But yeah, or if you have any game recommendations, send us an email or write a comment on Spotify. Reach us anyway. We always like getting some game recommendations from our listeners. But you can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952.
I've been Keith, as always.
And I'm Aaron, and don't come looking for me. Hit the music, Andrew.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. This has been a very busy week. A lot of people have been asking. Liz will be coming back soon. We are trying to slot some episodes for her. But unfortunately, Liz actually just cut her finger pretty bad. So she's going to be a little bit longer. Life just will not stop for her.
Wimp.
Unreal.
But yes, there will be more Liz. Anyway, we love you all. See you again next week.
Bye.